Yesterday, the latest Jailbreak update gave us the fourth McLaren in Jailbreak, the Snake. But how good is the Snake compared to the other three McLarens the game has had added already? That's what I'm going to determine in this video, where I rank all four McLarens from worst to best. But this ranking is going to be a little bit different. Instead of just ranking everything right away, I'm going to compare all four vehicles in four different categories: top speed, launch, looks, and flex value. In each category, the vehicles will get a point from 1 to 4. At the end of the video, I will tally up the points for the vehicles, and I will rank the vehicles from lowest to highest point numbers. If a vehicle has more points, this means it's better. If a vehicle has less points, this means it's worse. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and let's get started. For our first category, we're going to compare the top speed of all four vehicles. In last place, with only 1 point, is the OG McLaren. This vehicle was often criticized for its stats, and the top speed itself is kind of slow. The max it's reached is about 165 miles per hour, and while it is a bit better today since the Lambo got significantly nerfed, it is still not great. In third place, we have the newest vehicle on this list, the Snake. Generally, it seems like the Snake kind of maxes out its top speed at around 220-225 miles per hour, which is absolutely fantastic, but not as fast as the other two cars on this list. In second place, we have the Airtail. This car seems to max out at around 230-240 miles per hour, so it definitely pulls itself ahead. But in first place, we have the MCL36 with 4 points. This vehicle is absolutely insane. The top speed is around 250 miles per hour, and it's crazy just how fast this vehicle can get. But it's also appropriate since this is an actual race car. Next, I compared the launch of all four vehicles. To test this, I drove them each from one end of the airport to the other, and I timed it. In last place, we have the OG McLaren. This took almost 7 seconds to reach the end of the airport runway. Then we have the Snake. This reached the end of the airport runway in 5 seconds and 5 milliseconds. In second place, we have the Airtail. This reached the end of the runway in exactly 5 seconds. It was very close to the Snake. But in first place is the MCL36. This vehicle took only 4 seconds and 68 milliseconds to reach the end of the runway. So, now to recap the scores of all four vehicles. The OG McLaren is in last place with only 2 points. The Snake is in third place with 4 points. The Airtail is in second place with 6 points, and the MCL36 is in first place with 8 points. Next, I'm going to rate the looks of all four vehicles. And keep in mind, this section is more subjective than the other ones on this list. In last place, we have the OG McLaren. This vehicle was added in 2017 before the developers started adding interiors to the vehicles, and as a result, it looks pretty basic, especially compared to the real-life counterpart. Now, I do think this is one of the better looking OG vehicles, but it still does not look that great, and it would be an insult to the excellent modeling of the other three vehicles to have it above any of them. Then we have the Airtail. In general, the design does the McLaren Speedtail justice in my opinion, but it does still look a little bit basic in some aspects, so it's not my favorite, but it still does a great job. In second place is the MCL36. This vehicle looks absolutely phenomenal. It looks so good, and it's basically a splitting image of the in real life counterpart. But for me, the best looking McLaren out of the four is the Snake, or the McLaren Senna. Ed is an amazing designer, and he did such a great job designing this vehicle. It has so much detail, and it looks absolutely phenomenal from all sides. And in general, I like the look of this vehicle more than the MCL36, even though the MCL36 is also incredibly modeled, so this is why the Snake pulls ahead of the MCL. For our final category, I'm going to compare the flex value of all four vehicles. This category is a little bit complicated, and the criteria for it is more subjective than the other categories here, but I still think it's worth discussing. Basically, I deem flex value as number 1, how valuable is it in trading, and number 2, how rare is it in-game. In last place for this category, we have the MCL36. This vehicle is not tradable at all due to the deal that Asimo made with the McLaren company, and it was available for quite some time, over a month I believe. So many people were able to obtain this vehicle and get their hands on it. Therefore, I feel like this vehicle isn't really that big of a flex or that much of a show off. In third place, we have the OG McLaren. While this vehicle is an OG vehicle, it's still not that big of a flex and it's not that valuable in trading. Not many people really care about this vehicle. I pretty much never see it in game, and in general, even though it's kind of rare to spot these, people just don't really care about it. In second place, we have the Airtail. This vehicle was available for around a year and a lot of people bought it as it had great stats. But now in trading, it's actually quite desirable as a lot of people see how good of a vehicle it is and they want to get their hands on it. But in first place is the Snake. This vehicle is currently not able to be traded, but it will be tradable eventually. And when it is traded, I think this vehicle will be incredibly popular and incredibly in demand. A big reason I think this is because of how valuable the M12 Molten is in trading. A lot of people really want that vehicle, and this vehicle has even better stats than the Molten, so I feel like it's going to be quite desirable in trading. Also, since it's purchasable for only around 7 days, there is a very limited amount of time to get it, so I feel like it will be a nice flex showing this car off around the map. Okay, so before I add up the scores and rank all 4 of these vehicles, there are still a few points I want to add or take away from some of these vehicles. First off, the Airtail gets an extra point for having 3 seats, which means it's a good vehicle for teams, and I like that a lot. For that reason, I'm taking away a point from the MCL36 for having only 1 seat, which means it's really only good if you're playing solo, and I personally always like to drive with another person to team up with. Finally, the Snake gets 1 extra point for the really cool animated spoiler it has. Okay, now it's time to add up the scores and rank all 4 of these vehicles. In last place, we have the OG McLaren, coming with only 5 points. The stats on this vehicle are nothing too special. It's not bad necessarily. It used to be bad, but luckily the devs buffed it. But it's nothing great either, which means I don't really find myself using this vehicle. It also doesn't look very good as it was created before the developers were creating vehicles with interiors. In third place with 11 points, we have the MCL36. Stats wise, this vehicle is an absolute beast and it looks absolutely fantastic. However, I feel like it's not as cool of a flex because so many people own it and you can't trade it. Also, the 1 seat it has makes it a little bit limiting in my opinion. In second place, we have the Airtail. Stats wise, this vehicle is also quite good, and while I'm not 100% happy with how it looks, it still looks pretty great compared to the real life counterpart. I also like how it has 3 seats as this makes it a fun vehicle for playing with teams. But for me, the best McLaren, coming in first place with 13 points, is the Snake, or the McLaren Senna. This vehicle just looks absolutely amazing. UFED did an awesome job creating it, and the stats are absolutely fantastic in my opinion. I also feel like it's going to be a nice flex car to drive around the map, and it's going to be quite valuable in trading. But yeah, that's going to conclude my ranking of all 4 McLarens in Jailbreak. What do you think? Did you like this style of ranking? Do you want me to use it in my upcoming Bugatti ranking when I get the Bugatti Macaron? Which McLaren is your favorite? Make sure to tell me all your thoughts down below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also consider joining my Roblox group, which is linked in the description below. And if you're over 13, also consider following me on Twitter and joining my Discord server, both of which are linked below as well. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later.